the unfortunate, for she was born in the communal lands, in the country, in rural areas, under the same kind of a district, in a province, in a zone, in a village, where she dwelt with a mother and a father who still remained as the poorer of the poorest. Being a person born to a family you are not choosing, you were not given a privilege to choose or anything to say you choose, but again, being in that family where nothing came as happiness and joy, but altogether love and love and love and care. Each and every morning, her parents being the first to wake her up, being again the first kind of people to say, you go now, go to school and go again and attend your lessons. It was so difficult for her, but she had to go and attend school. But again, there was a problem, and still again, a problem unknown to the parents. But again, she knew the problem within her own heart. At school, she lived another kind of a life, like someone in a prison of her own self, worse like someone before the judgment, without any other kind of answer or any other kind of a proof or evidence to defend or kind of your proof to some kind of a law that you would be having. That was the pain. Due to her dullness at school, most of the times, during break times, in the campus, during lunch times, she would be seen not with anyone, but all the two students would gather in groups, in crowds, in half dozens and dozens, and twos and threes, having nothing but great kind of conversation, gossiping, criticizing, and somehow doing clownship for the same kind of a student who still remained without anything to say to defend her own self. But she would somehow, right in the same kind of a school, leave, depart, and go to be seen not anywhere but spotted in the cold chambers to avoid humiliation, to be herself or on her own. Loneliness became her assistance, and altogether again, in each and every time, she will be pointed figures as much as each and every time in front of the classroom, in front again of the mistress, in front of the blackboard, and again before the table of the classroom, and again she will be seeing nothing but the same kind of a darkness. Will be like driving a vehicle in the darkness without lights. Life became a great kind of a tormenting blister to her, on which it was only the failure of a human kind of a knowledge, which brought nothing but great mathematics, physical science, biology, and other kind of subjects, which still remained as difficult for her to calculate. A failure became nothing but a great kind of a hope to her, on which each and every time she had nothing to offer as a good kind of a student or a learner or a scholar. It happened that in time, as time went on, as she still remained so hopelessly and helplessly, and again being somehow pointed by the fingers of her own classmates and her own schoolmates again as a failure in everything she did. It happened that one day, rested in her own heart, was another flame, if I can say, or another hope of a failure, which brought nothing but a great kind of a step to step on her own kind of doubted life. It began that during another day, a certain kind of a man from abroad visited the same kind of a school somewhere in the same kind of a village, doing nothing but recruiting students for the same kind of a talent of playing tennis. She was the one to be found to be doing the best kind of a sport and having the great kind of an ability, and in a kind of a sport she had the same kind of an energy, the same kind of a power, the same kind of a glory to be talented with a great kind of a sport of playing tennis. She was so powerful. She was so energetic, like a springbok. and she could step higher and step lower and all over defend, and still again she became nothing but the greatest kind of a sportswoman. As she was, she still somehow won her own kind of a hamper for the first time against school matches, and it was at that time that life brought nothing but a great light to a doubted life, and that was the alpha of her glory in the doubted kind of a life. As again, in another day, she was called for nothing but again to play for the same kind of the nation against another nation on which she won the same matches of a tennis. Her performance became nothing as each and every student or teacher or lecturer sleeps, spoke nothing but of great kind of a rise of a sportswoman who still remained as herself, her name being Linda. And Linda again, it was the first and the second and the third time. It was the beginning of the time when time took her to several trips abroad, where again, with no time, she was called for a photo shoot magazine, and again she was called for other kind of advertisements. And again, it was another step when she was called for advertising t-shirts like Knights, like Puma, like Diesel, and altogether again, she was called to advertise nothing but techies of all other kind of techies, and it was at that time again. When you're at home, the same kind of a homestead, the same kind of a place where she dwelt, the same kind of a home became so brand new, a renovation took place, and it was in that time when the parents smiled and laughed as all brand new furniture was delivered, and it was at that time when happiness somewhere, somehow, but not anywhere, in the same kind of a village, people were laughing, some were smiling as the furniture also was distributed to other neighbors, all because of the rise of her. She was now called the star of the stars because of her own performance. It wasn't long. In the kitchen, porridge vanished to elsewhere as cereals took place in the dinner tables, bride packs took place, and also again in the trunks, in their own trunks, all the kind of magazines were thrown away as all kind of ornaments took place and filled their own kind of a trunk. And it was time again when the old pictures on the walls were taken off as the new or brand new flamboyant, massive kind of pictures known as drawings were all pasted over and put on the walls. And it was at that time again, in no time, but everywhere, all disguises kinds of friends, all her clowns, all her gossipers, now felt to be not anywhere but to mention the rise of the star. And it was at that time that her life brought nothing but glory to her parents and glory again to the same school. And it was time after time, as time took away like a rising sun, bringing nothing but glory to the same nation. And again, it wasn't long when the same kind of the Ministry of Sports called to be the ambassador of the sport in the same kind of a nation. It was a glory and a glory beyond glory, and it was on another day when she was called to do nothing but to give whatever she owed to the same kind of a nation as giving to the same unprivileged, and she somehow donated so much kind of tennis balls, rackets all over, as it all turned to be a new syllabus in the same kind of schools, in the same kind of the nation. And time after time again, she was the best of the best, and life brought nothing but happiness and joy of jubilation to the parents, to the educators, and each and everyone's lips mentioned the rise of a warrior, and the rise of a warrior again became nothing but the great topic of the trending news in the same kind of a world where she was born, and life became a great kind of a journey to anyone, and to her to be nothing but the great kind of of unexpected in a great kind of a life that brought nothing but a great hope, to where hope was never thought of, to where hope was looked down upon but rested within her heart, was a day of jubilation, a day of arising, of an uprising, a superstar. And it was that day again.